Welcome to Lesson 24 of Microsoft Excel 2010. In this lesson, we are going to go through what we have learned so far from Lesson 1 to Lesson 23, that is Spreadsheet Consolidation. In Lesson 1, we learned about spreadsheet basics, and in the basics we learned about rows and columns, cells, cell addresses, and the basic spreadsheet interface. In Lesson 2, we learned about absolute cell referencing. We first learned about relative cell addressing. Thereafter, we learned how to keep a cell absolute by using the $sign. In Lesson 3, we learned about the autofill command. We learned about the fill handle of a cell. We learned how to autofill cells with numbers, dates, months of the year, and days of the week. In Lesson 4, we learned about spreadsheet functions. We learned how to insert a predefined function in a cell, and we learned that all functions must start with an equal to sign. In Lesson 5, we learned about rounding off numbers. We learned how to round off numbers to 0, 1, 2, and 3 decimal places. In Lesson 6, we learned about the if function. We learned about the three arguments in the function, that is the condition, the value if true, and the value if false. In Lesson 7, we learned about relational operators. We learned that there are 6 relational operators, which include the less than, is greater than, is less than or equal to, is greater than or equal to, is equal to, and lastly, is not equal to. In Lesson 8, we learned about conditional formatting. We learned how to make our spreadsheets look attractive by highlighting cells. In Lesson 9 and 10, we learned about error indicators, what they mean and how we can resolve the errors. In Lesson 11, we learned about troubleshooting, and we learned how to troubleshoot spreadsheets. In Lessons 12 to 16, we learned about charts. We learned about the different chart types. We learned how to create a chart. We learned how to choose a chart type. We learned about legends, chart titles, grid lines, and labels. In Lesson 17, we learned about the integration between spreadsheet and document. We learned how to copy and paste from Excel to Microsoft Word. In Lesson 18, we learned about importing and exporting data. We learned about importing and exporting data from a text file and Excel. In Lesson 19, we learned about help files, how to activate the help files in Excel. In Lesson 20, we learned about working with sheets. We learned how to insert, copy, move, hide, unhide, color, and protect a sheet. In Lesson 21, we learned about integration techniques. We learned how to integrate link tables and charts to other Microsoft applications. In Lesson 22, we learned about print options. We learned 2 print options. Firstly, the quick print option and the print panel, which is the backstage view of Excel. In Lesson 23, we learned about templates. We learned about using templates in various ways.